Hi, everyone, and welcome to Bloomstream Entertainment Network for Sports Talk with Matt and Brent. My name's Matt Buto. I'm joined here by Brent Coble. Brent, soccer, high school soccer, about three-quarters of the way the season's done. We were in Profile recently. Here we go.
Yeah, Matt, getting down to the nitty gritty here of the season. Excited. We were looking at the standings before this and noticed that there was a ton of teams within contention moving forward.
And not just a ton of teams, but the North Country's well represented. Well represented, right?
That's
Woodsville,
right, Matt.
Profile, Gorham,
Littleton.
Littleton, everybody's up there. But let's talk about that Profile Gorham game. That was a game that was highly anticipated for a lot of people, especially the two teams. But for us, we knew that Gorham was coming in wanting to get a win. We knew that Profile was coming in wanting to get a win. And it ended up being a 5-1 win. What were your thoughts on the game?
Well, as I said before that game, Gorham had beat them 1-0 previously in the season, and I had a feeling that there was going to be a lot more goals that game, and that did come to fruition. It was just a lot more for one team than the other. Profile played a great first half, came out of the half 1-0, and then it was Gorham's turn to have a half.
Now, there was one point in that game where the Profile starting keeper got an injury. I'm not sure what the injury was, and he was replaced by the backup. I don't know if that had anything to do with the game. I know that Gorham had a lot of momentum, and Gorham can score some goals, but I wonder how that impacted the team. And for a game that requires a lot of momentum to win, Gorham scored some quick goals, and they scored often.
They certainly did, and Matt, thinking about that when the goalie got hurt there. I think it was already 3-1 Gorham at that time when he had gotten hurt. Might even have been 4-1. The backup keeper, you're shoved into that game and lots of pressure on you, but at the same time, your team's down, so really no pressure on you at all. And if I remember correctly, when he was put in, he came right in and made a great
It was
save
the
right
first
off the
save.
bat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. Now, you had the opportunity to talk with Dave Backler and Doug Kilby after the game, and what were their thoughts? What do they take from a game like that? Going in thinking going to be a close game, potential win. It's a 5-1 win, 5-1 loss. What were their thoughts after the game?
Coach Kilby was a little disappointed. Way too many mistakes. He's going to give it to you like it is. Defense made too many mistakes, and I when I was interviewing him, I thought at the time that his defense played a great first half. I thought their speed was equal to Gorham's. I think those too many mistakes in the second half certainly cost him all those goals. And Coach Backler was beyond happy, very excited. He said, we came here and we took care of business. We did what we had to do, and man of not many words in that instance, but yeah, I mean, Gorham certainly took care of the ball in the second half, and they can score quickly, Matt.
I talked with Dave Backler before, and like you said, it's very simple for Coach Backler. We've got to do our job. We got to do the things we've been doing, and we got to do them for 40 minutes a half and 80 minutes a game. And that for Gorham is speed. It's taking shots, really good fundamental soccer that, putting the ball in the back of the net.
Absolutely. In the profile keeper, I mean, I don't know how many times in the first half we mentioned his name.
Yeah, true.
He did a heck of a job in the net. But it comes a time. I mean, if you're getting 5 or 6 shots every 10 minutes, there's going to be a time when one of those is going to go in. The defense has to step up and stop some of those shots and some of those breakaways that Gorham had.
And the starting keeper kept him in the game, like you said. Several times we mentioned his name. Very athletic goalkeeper, commanding the field, making some really nice saves in that first half, and kept Profile in that game.
And another, their left or their center fullback there, who was putting that left foot on a dime for Profile.
Yes.
I mean, Profile had numerous chances to score goals in that game. So you look at the score 5-1, you think it's a one-sided game. Really, it wasn't. Profile had numerous chances, and they had good opportunities to score. The ball just sometimes doesn't find the back of the net.
Now let's talk about that Gorham offense that just kind of is waiting for their opportunities, waiting to strike. A lot of speed, a lot of knowledge. We've said this often about the Gorham team. I think they've been playing together since they were 4 or 5 years old. You have the Saladino brothers. You had Connor Lemoyne, bunch of speed. Cam Paik as well. What are your thoughts on that offense? And as you know, the end of the season will come, playoffs. People are watching them.
The best thing they do to me is they play through every ball. They don't give up if the defense has the ball. They're going to go hard and go to try to get the ball, and they'll contain as a defender being a forward, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
They won't let the defense turn out of their own defense. And sometimes, as we saw in that game, Jack Saladino walked right through a defender and took the ball off his foot, carried it in, and scored a goal.
Sure. Now, if you're playing Gorham, toward the end of the season or in the playoffs, what is one thing that you're thinking of, you're working on? What might be that weakness of Gorham where you could capitalize on and get a goal or two?
Well, my first thought as a coach would be probably, and this goes to the old school mentality of soccer, what I grew up with. Whenever you had a player that was above the others, more skilled, more talented, you usually marked him with your best defender and your fastest defender. And I haven't seen many teams do that to Saladino, either one of them, Jack or Brendan. So maybe moving forward, that's something. But again, you got to match that speed. If you don't have somebody that can match his speed, really marking him is a waste of a man.
Sure. Now, then on the other end, you have Doug Kilby's Profile Patriots. A very good, solid soccer team. 5-1 loss. Heads are down. What does the rest of the season look like for them? What do you want to do as a coach? What do you want to do as a team? What's next for them in that next game?
Well, actually, Matt, they played Littleton in a night game the other night, and they came back and they dominated that game.
There you go.
That was a game where I think they had tied previously in the season. Did they?
I believe so.
I think Profile and Littleton had tied 0-0 maybe. I could be wrong. But they came back and took care of business. So, putting the cleats on, lacing them up after you lose a game and getting right back at it and doing your thing.
Good short-term memory. When we were at that game, speaking of Littleton, there were a lot of Littleton players there, which was good to see because now they're thinking, all right, we have two teams that we're going to be playing against, probably playing them in the playoffs. At least half the team was there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, as we just said, you're looking at those Division IV boys soccer standings, and there's a lot of North Country teams up at the top. And, they're all going to try to figure out where they land and who they're going to play,
Excellent. So that was a Gorham Profile game, a Gorham win with 5-1, although I believe it was very close at the half. But Gorham ended up pulling away. We have some highlights we're going to show of the game. We're going to run through those real quick before the break. But again, Gorham Huskies over the Profile Patriots 5-1. And go ahead and watch some of these highlights, and we'll be right back. There goes Lemoyne. Lemoyne takes the shot. Deflected over the net. That's Connor Lemoyne. Almost Brent. Big throw by Kate right in the middle. But the defender's there. And another save by the angle place ball. But the Profile is there again. Lemoyne with the pressure. Profile able to keep that ball in. Step by Carson Roberge. Good move by Profile, good cut. Ooh, number 6, Owen McFall. Miller Weiss, good opportunity, maybe the second or third. A nice corner kick, and the ball goes in the back of the net, and Profile is up 1-0 off a corner kick, and I believe that is
Alex Leslie, I believe.
Trying to get up to his brother. His brother's onside, tries to get it to the middle, and the goalie for Profile there again. Danny Burnell has kept his Profile team in the game. Ooh, dangerous.
Ball slipping to the back.
There it is. That's a goal. A Gorham goal. Is that 8 back?
We made a couple mistakes in the first half that didn't cost us. Gorham doubles and triples very well.
They do.
Outside half, holding the ball too long, then all of a sudden you got 3 guys around you, you lose possession. All I'll say is all the years I've coached, it's hard to beat a team 3 times.
Saladino. Backler to Saladino. And the race is on. Saladino heads it, and the ball goes in the back.
That's one of those heart games, where you're down 1-0 at the end of the first half. Profile, I'll give it all to them. They played tough in that first half. They're big, they're strong, they're fast. And we were feeling that out, and they scored that goal at the end of the first half. And I said to the boys, hey, this is what the playoffs is going to be like. There's no easy games. What are you made of? I think we found out what they're made of. Couldn't be more proud of them, the way they're playing. They're just playing together. They're a team. They play hard together, and couldn't be more proud of them.
What does joy look like? At Santa's Village, it looks a lot like this. Visit a world of pure joy that's closer than you think, where it's always the season for smiles, for laughs, for family, for reindeer roller coasters and cookies. For a day packed with so much fun, you'll know exactly what joy looks like. Santa's Village, pure joy, family style.
Covering you at home, at work, and at play, George M. Stevens Insurance is the only local agency to offer personal and commercial insurance, as well as health, life, and financial services. With offices throughout the North Country, we service your complete insurance needs. As a trusted choice insurance agency, we research coverage options from the nation's top companies to ensure that your policy works for you. George M. Stevens Insurance, protecting New Hampshire and Vermont since 1882.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Plume Stream Entertainment Network for Sports Talk with Matt and Brent. My name's Matt Buto. This is Brent Colville. Plume Media, again, expanding, traveled down to Epping, and also welcomed Josh Lebrecht as the new play-by-play, Brent, helping us out down south. You weren't available. I wasn't available. He jumped right in there. Welcome to the team. It was good to hear him.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. Good to have another one of us. You know, it's tough to beat all this talent right here.
Yes, for sure. It does expand, beyond us, which we have to gently remind ourselves every now and again. But down at Epping, due to be a really good game, it was a very close game for the first half. These teams have played before.
Yeah, they have, and I believe they tied earlier in the season, real early in the season. So both of them were hungry to make a statement in this game.
And we'll look actually later on in the show. We're gonna bring those standings up, and you will see Epping and Sunapee close within 8-3, 8-2, or 9-3. So it was an important game, but it was a game that for the first half was close, and Sunapee ended up pulling away 6-2.
Yeah, 6 goals. There's a lot of goals. As we're talking here, you get to see some of the replays of the game. But 6 goals, that's a lot of goals, and it's tough to be on the losing end of that. 6-6, that would be a huge amount of goals, obviously. But 6 goals, that's tough to come back from. Now,
one name that Josh and Chad did mention a lot during that game, I believe his last name was Shunden.
Yes.
And Chad earlier in our conversation had mentioned he's like the Tenny Burt
kid from
Woodsville.
From Woodsville. In the last few years.
Kind of played just like him.
All over the field. he's the playmaker. He's the distributor of the ball. Seems to be where the ball is at all times.
Yeah, and it's that athleticism too. It's not just a soccer player. It's good field awareness. It's good field leadership, and it's that athleticism. And sooner or later during that game, those things are going to shine through, Brent. Those things are going to come up, and you're going to start capitalizing on them.
Absolutely. As we said, the game was 1-1 at the half. So you're putting 5 goals in the second half. That's huge, and holding the other team to 1 goal. So you're doing something right, Matt.
Now, you and I weren't there, but we've had this conversation about smaller fields, especially in Gorham and Profile, and either it's a home field advantage or having to adjust to it. I know that we talked with Coach Matt Taylor. They have a much bigger field down in Woodsville. This field looks small. I'm not sure if it was me, but what do you think?
I think it's a little bit narrower than most, Matt. I don't lengthwise. I'm sure it's pretty close, but certainly narrow. It looks like it's just a bit wider than a football field, which isn't quite enough. But it didn't seem to slow down the guest Sunapee Lakers at all.
Now we're watching some highlights of the game. Beautiful save right there. But a lot of opportunities. Again, if you notice here, we're in the second, and it's probably somewhere around 2-1. But we'll talk more about the score a little later. A lot of good things happening out there.
Yeah, and here's the point in the game with about 20 minutes left. We were able to watch some footage of this game, obviously, and not being there. But here's the point in the game where Sunapee takes over. I mean, that's a 50-yard shot. Again, was that Shundon who noticed the keeper was way out, put the ball over his head. Tough to make that save, and just great field awareness by Shundon.
Taking advantage of the opportunity to, try to fool the goalie. Goalie's not paying attention. You see some ball work here. Is that going to be a goal too?
It
yeah,
is.
see, I mean, you can't get better soccer than that. Couple touches, brings it in the corner, uses the left foot, crosses it, ball goes in the back of the net. It's a beautiful goal.
And what makes it even more beautiful is the ball never touched the ground, man.
Yeah.
And I think we saw that 2 or 3 times from Sunapee where from a foot to a head. And again, as a goalie, you've almost got no chance because you don't know where the ball's going to come off. You don't even know really where the ball's headed.
Sure. Again, Josh Lebrecht coming down for that, or going up for that game, actually, representing Flume Media down south. Great job, him and Chad Fillion, the producer on the set, or Adam Noyes as well. We weren't there, but they did. They did us well.
Oh, absolutely. And obviously, producer Chad. This isn't his first barbecue. He knows what's going on.
That's for sure.
So moving forward, at least we have a backup. We might be able to call out sick every now and then.
Every now and then, and then you mentioned barbecue. Let's hope he's as good at barbecuing as you say he is, because you're making me hungry. But let's go to this this goal. There's this one goal, or this one kind of moment, Brent, that I wanna walk you through, and we'll watch it here.
I mean, I just want to point out, Matt, if you look, our Flume time says 0, and obviously the official time's kept on the field. Here's a situation that's come up that we haven't seen ever before. I can't remember in a situation. If you watch here, Epping's going to put the ball in here in a second. And as this goes on, we'll talk about this. Right there where the goal was scored, Sunapee put the goal in.
We pause right there, Chad.
If we hold this right here, what happened in this situation is just before the goal scorer let go of the ball, there was an errant whistle, which on the other side of the field, the player's side, the bench's side, that is the official that keeps the official time for the half. He had blown his whistle before this goal was scored. Unbeknownst to us, we're going on. We think the game's 1-1, and you see him here running down to his partner to tell him no goal, no goal. So as such, we thought that was going to be the situation. It was going to be a 1-0 game going into the half. But here, as you can tell, that's not the situation that occurred. Mm-hmm. It looks like the officials got together, talked, and then they allowed the goal, and they restarted play. 1, 2, 3 seconds come off, and then the official blew the half dead. All right, so we go about 15 minutes into the second half, and all of our Flume producers and commentators looked up at the scoreboard and noticed the scoreboard said 2-1 at that particular time. 2-1 Epping, not 2 goals Sunapee. So they were kind of confused at what was going on. So apparently they had taken this goal off after the half, which is, something, again, I've never seen. He got the officials talking to the Epping coach, which at the time, again, we thought.
Even when you're watching this interaction, when you watch that referee walk away, the coach is going to shake his head. They were still counting it as a goal at that point.
Yes. Now, highly protestable call, sure. I'm not sure at the protocols in soccer, but if it's like any other NHIAA sport, obviously protests need to be made at the time. But the goal was good here. They restarted the game. I'm not sure, being an official in other sports, how they were then able to take that goal off after halftime.
Or when they did, because there's no moment where you're like, you can see them take the goal off. The thing that confused me about the lead ref in that play was he put his hands together like this to stop the time. And usually at that point, if it's a goal, they stop the time and they point to the center.
Sure.
So he stopped the time after the ball went into the net, which you would assume that he was actually calling the goal, but he never pointed.
Right.
But he didn't stop the time until after the ball went in. So again, adding to the confusion, I don't know if we're going to see it here again, but adding to the confusion of what happened, and then kind of in the midst of the game, a goal is taken away.
Sure. And really, I can't explain it, as I said. I mean, if the game goes the other way around and Epping wins this game 5-2, if I'm the Sunapee coach in that situation there, I'm protesting the game there.
Yeah.
Because of the confusion and how the goal was given and then taken away.
Sure.
It would have been nice to be there to maybe chat with the officials after the game for some sort of reasoning of the play. But we don't know, and we can only go on what we see. And thankfully, the game turned out as it should, with Sunapee creating all those goals in the second half and not having to worry about this particular play.
And again, another quick shout out to the production team, Josh, Chad over there, being able to put this footage together for us, being able to walk us through it, being able to kind of like try to, have some dialogue about what happened, where did things go, why were goals taken away, and thanks to you for walking us through that. So,
sure. Again,
another one of those services that Flume Media is trying to provide the viewers, especially with games like this. You don't know what happened, you don't know why it happened. We have production that can show that to us, and our conversations will provide some clarity. But regardless, it was a Sunapee 6-2 win. A big win when we look at the standings here in a few minutes. Two teams that were close in the standings. Like you said, Sunapee pulled away, so it didn't really matter per se. But, it could have went the other way. And, again, I say it all the time, when those things happen, you could lose momentum.
Absolutely.
And you end up losing a game that you might should have won. And that's where it gets a little more complicated. But when we do come back, what we'll do is we'll take a look at the standings. And we'll look at the representation of the Division 4 teams up north. We'll look at girls and boys, take a look at what some potential playoffs might look like if we have any home games to cover up here. And we'll do that probably in a minute or two, so come right back.
I used to think college was for other people, but after a lot of hard work and thanks to an incredible support system, now I know I'm exactly where I need to be.
Just like you means when I walk into the bank, I feel like home. I feel like this is home.
It's a family. It's just small like me, but it's good like me.
Just like you, I know I have the support of the bank, and my clients have the support of the bank. And to me, that just has extreme value.
Hi there, I'm Chuck Lloyd, president at White Mountains Community College, just talking to you a little bit about our college. We've been here since 1965. We've got 3 locations in Berlin, Littleton, and North Conway, and we're also online. We have a lot of technical programs, and we have a lot of online, remote, synchronous, asynchronous, whatever works best for your schedule. We are the only higher ed institution in New Hampshire above the notches. And what that means for us is we've got to be all things to all people. And we aim to try to do that by responding to workforce needs, industry and business, and partner locally with the needs of our communities. We could not be more excited to host new students coming in January.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Plume Stream Entertainment Network for Sports Talk with Matt and Brent. Again, I'm Matt Buto. Brent Coble to my left. Brent, we're going to bring up the standings for the girls first. I'd like to talk a little bit about it. A lot of teams eligible for the playoffs within a game or two, and the North Country's well represented.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. As we talk girls, I believe I counted 21 teams in the Division IV girls ranks. The NHIAA uses the 70% rule, which is 70% of the teams in the division make the playoffs. So my quick calculations puts 14 teams in. I could be wrong a team, but I believe Division IV girls will have 14 in. So you're looking at teams like, Littleton, Woodsville, Profile, Moultonborough, all North Country teams. And then we've got some teams we covered with Sunapee. And in Epping, I'm not sure where Epping stands on the other side of this. Here's the top 10, right, Matt? Is it what we're looking at? The top
10, yeah. The next screen will be...
The next team will be the rest.
Yeah.
And Newmarket looks like they're having a heck of a season at 13-0. We haven't yet to see them. Here's the rest. Gorham, obviously, they're right now sitting at 11-12. You got Pittsburgh, Canaan, you got Groveton, Linwood, all these teams that could jump in there.
One thing I was looking at the Gorham Gorham results. They're 6-5-3. Those 3 ties could have went either way, and I believe that they lost to Littleton recently 1-0 and Profile 2-1. So even teams Somersworth, Gorham, Pittsburgh, Canaan, the win-loss record doesn't really define who the team is because they played some of those teams good, and there's 3 ties there.
Sure, and as a coach, you obviously don't want to have any ties, but those 3 ties are going to help Gorham in the playoff hunt because they're going to have more points than the other teams going up, and their ratings are going to be better. So it's certainly going to help them. A 6-12 team, and you got Gorham 6-7-3, same amount of wins, but those ties are going to help bump up Gorham to a higher position than the other teams.
So again, the Division IV girls teams well represented for the North Country, kind of spread around, but some competitive teams. Even Pittsburgh, Canaan, and Groveton. We covered a Groveton game in Pittsburgh, Canaan down at Moultonborough. Those are feisty teams. That
sure, Matt, like you say, I don't want to see them. I don't want them to have to come to me and play a team like that in the first round. I mean, those are a lot of times in the playoffs, those first round games, you're looking at a 1-16 game. Sometimes those games are the games that you overlook and you don't get up for. And number 16's up for it. They're ready to go.
For sure.
So you better be ready to play your best game when the time counts. And in the playoffs, it's one and done. It's not like we're playing a 2-3 game series here. You have one bad day and you're the 1 seed. Oh, wow, you could be done.
And it's a brand new season.
Absolutely.
The standings don't matter. The games you played earlier in the season. But let's go over to the boys, speaking of that. And, at the beginning of the season, we had a lot of conversations about Woodsville and about Gorham and about Littleton and about Profiles, the kind of the top-tier teams. Although Gorham's pulled away a little bit, we don't know much about Concord Christian. I want to ask you something that Doug Kilby said. And it was about losing to Gorham. And he said, you can't beat a team. You can't beat it or lose to a team or beat a team 3 times. And I'm wondering if that's also kind of going to play a role in some of this here as maybe Profile plays against Gorham again, or some of these teams that have battled out, Littleton, Gorham, Profile.
Yeah, that's the old adage, Matt. It's tough to beat a team 3 times in the same season.
Yeah.
Especially if you're rivals. Gorham and Profile played to that 1-0 game. And Gorham comes to Profile. Gorham beats Profile 5-1. Coach Kilby's referring to, hey, they've beat us twice. We're going to be ready the third
Hard
time.
to beat, yeah.
We're going to be tough to beat a third time.
Now let's look at this, Brent. This Concord Christian team we haven't covered. We had some, earlier in the season when it came to the win-loss record and points, they hadn't played as many games. They seem to be a very competitive team. They had 7 wins at the time. Now they have, they're 11-0-1. But then again, you have Profile, you have Woodsville, you have Epping, Littleton. There's the Epping and Sunapee I was talking about earlier. Well represented, some quality North Country soccer. But you got teams like Messinic, you got teams like Epping, you got teams like Sunapee, Concord Christian that they may not have played. How is that going to play a role in the playoffs?
Well, as we talked about this earlier in the season, but you look at the situation here. You got Profile in third with 49 points, 3 points above Concord Christian with 46. So their rating can't be better because of the loss record.
Mm-hmm.
So they have 2 losses here. Concord Christian's got no losses. Now, if Concord Christian loses a game or 2, Profile is going to bump up because their rating will be higher.
Mm-hmm.
And Profile has all these points because they're playing a Division III school, someone above them in a division. So it's going to be. I'm really curious to see how it works out in the end. But like you said, Woodsville's right there at 9-2. Woodsville just played Profile the other night. And Littleton, excuse me. Woodsville Profile might be playing today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's going to be another good game. Unfortunately, we're not able to cover that one. But what I'm saying is these teams still going to face off against each other. So there still could be some mixing up here in the final records. But I don't see Gorham and Profile losing that top 4.
Mm-hmm.
Gorham, obviously, if you look at the records now, could eventually end up tied with Concord Christian if they win out and no more ties. And then that would go to tiebreakers. And, that's a big whole list of criteria. First thing is head-to-head. They don't play each other head-to-head. And then it goes to road wins, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
wins on the road against playoff teams. How many playoff teams did you beat in the season? There's a whole list of criteria to go through. And if that happens, believe me, I'll know and we'll talk about that. But here you go is the second top 10 here. Colebrook's alive. Colebrook, a team that was winless for a lot of the season.
Yeah.
And now they got 5 wins and they're in the 12th spot. The Division 4 teams, I believe there's 23 or 24. So you're looking at a full playoff bracket of 16 teams, which is a difference maker because you're putting 1 and 2 playing instead of 1 and 2 getting a bye in that first round. Something that we just talked about, 12, 14, 16. You're looking at Hinsdale going up to Gorham.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, we didn't see any Hinsdale games, and who knows how good they are. But if they're playing those southern teams, they've got a tough record. Just like you're looking at a Colebrook or a Groveton playing Profile, Woodsville, Littleton, Gorham. There's 8 games right there that you're playing against top level competition.
And like you said, you don't necessarily want to play a Colebrook team. You don't necessarily want to play a Groveton team in the playoffs when they're hungry.
Absolutely not. And those are the teams that are scary. And soccer and baseball are similar in the fact that it's have a good day.
Yeah.
Have a good day, and you don't know who's going to win. You could have the best center half in the league, and he could come out and sprain his ankle in the first 10 minutes of the game, and the dynamics of the game shift, and the other team's more hungry. And that's why, it's, as you said, it's a whole new season, and you got to play to win each and every day, because if you lose, there is no tomorrow.
Playoff soccer's in the air. North Country's well represented. It's a whole brand new season. I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure we'll be covering 1 or 2 of those games. But, let's talk about upcoming games. We're going to Moultonborough tomorrow. It does sound like there's going to be a boatload of rain, no pun intended. So we're not sure if that's going to happen. But tentatively tomorrow, Littleton at Moultonborough. likely to be postponed for due to rain. Then Monday, October 17th, we're going back to Sunapee, and we have is that the boys' game?
Doubleheader that day, I believe.
Is it a double?
Oh.
Okay, so Monday the 17th, thanks, Chad. It's going to be Littleton at Sunapee boys. Then Wednesday the 19th, Woodsville at Sunapee, and we're covering the boys and girls game. Some exciting soccer to be had.
Yeah.
And
2
again,
trips to Sunapee this week.
Yeah, Moultonboro, Littleton, Sunapee, all games that matter. Woodsville, for that boys team, Woodsville and Sunapee, they're neck and neck. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay. My fault there, Matt. Sorry that, or you read that incorrectly. We're actually at Woodsville on Monday, and that's what I thought. I thought we were in the North Country Monday.
We're
going to blame that on producer Chad Fillion.
I think that one might have changed. The words change on the screen.
Yeah, so we have Littleton at Woodsville, and then Woodsville again at Sunapee for a doubleheader, boys and girls, on Wednesday, which again, we're looking at top 8 teams there playing each other. You can't get much better than that for the coverage,
And it's going to be you and I in one of those games. So we're bringing.
I plan on being there all 3.
We're bringing the A. Well, yeah, there's 3 of them. We're bringing the A game. So just to be clear, Monday, October 17th, Littleton at Woodsville boys. Wednesday, October 19th, Woodsville at Sunapee, doubleheader, boys and girls.
Yes.
Very important games. Littleton at Woodsville, huge. Woodsville at Sunapee, huge. We have soccer. There's going to be playoff implications with those games. All of those teams want to win them.
Oh, no doubt. And as you said, I'm looking forward to our next sports talk where we're going to talk all playoffs, all soccer, all playoffs, girls and boys, what games we're covering, where we're going to be at. We're hoping that our production of 4 to 6 cameras is back up and running. We here at Flume Media try to do our best to give you the best angles, the best views, and all of the views we can bring to you, compared to some other places where you only have one camera view. And coaches, this is a great tool to use. All of our stuff is free online at flumestream.com. Come and review and scout. Use our broadcast to help you prepare for your next game. We're looking forward to it. And as you said earlier in the show, Matt, we've expanded down south. Maybe in a couple of years we're going to have this whole state covered, and we'll be able to talk from Newmarket to Wilton, Lineborough, all the way up to Pittsburgh, Canaan, and have this state covered in all these sports.
There you go. Now, one more question before we finish up here, Brent. There's always at least in my own head, there's a healthy competition between the announcers and the production. And year after year, the production team comes in with cameras, and I don't even know half the things that are going on. So it's also a challenge for us because we're bringing what we can bring to these games because they're bringing what they can bring to these games. But I got to tell you, I think we might be in the lead.
Yeah, I don't know that. The first couple games we did, Matt, this year when all our equipment was healthy and running correctly, we had a camera on you and I the whole game. And you had 5 different angles of different views of the field. I mean, I don't think you can get much better than that. We are pretty close to ESPN right now, and we're going to keep moving forward. And one of these days we're going to have every single angle covered, and they're going to be coming to us for replays during the game.
All right. So that's Matt and Brent, the basis for radio, as Chad would tell us. So what we'll do, remember, Monday, 10-17, Littleton at Woodsville boys. Wednesday, 10-19, Woodsville at Sunapee doubleheader. For Brent Colville and Zach and Chad behind the scenes, my name is Matt Buteau. This is Sports Talk with Matt and Brent, and we'll see you right before playoff season.